All right, I have now finished chapters 37 through 45, and wow, I'm just a little past the halfway point of the book, and things in King's Landing are starting to feel very dangerous for Ned. Back in my earlier videos, I've from the very first one, I've been asking a question. Can honor survive the throne? And in this section, we finally see that question collide with reality. Because Ned is still playing by the rules of honor. But the people around him are playing the Game of Thrones. And those aren't the same game. One of the most interesting moments in this section happens almost accidentally. Sansa and Arya are arguing about Joffrey. It's when Ned is telling them he's going to be sending them back to Winterfell for their own safety. And it starts an argument between Sansa and Arya. And Sansa says, talking about Joffrey, I'll give him a son with golden hair, and one day he'll be the king of all the realm, the greatest king that ever was, as brave as the wolf, and as proud as the lion. Interesting choice, because the Starks are wolves, and Sansa's a Stark. Proud as the lion. And Arya notices it. Arya snaps back. Not if Joffrey's his father, she said. He's a liar and a craven. And anyhow, he's a stag, not a lion. And then Sansa, tears in her eyes, says something that's truer than even she realizes. She says, he is not. He's not the least bit like that old drunken king. She screams at her sister, forgetting herself in her grief. And Ned catches the remark that it's truer than she knows. He says, out of the mouths of babes. If Joffrey were really Robert's son, he should resemble the Baratheon stag, not the Lannister lion. And Ned realizes what Jon Arryn must have discovered before he died, that the king's children may not actually be the king's. But then comes one of the most shocking scenes in the book so far, because Ned confronts Cersei and she just admits the truth. That Jaime is not only her brother, he's also her lover and the father of her children. What's fascinating about this is that Cersei doesn't justify it by passion alone, though. She invokes history. She points to the Targaryens, who married brother to sister to keep bloodlines pure. Of course, she kind of overlooks the fact that the king that was overthrown was called the Mad King. So, like, do you really want to, like, do something that mad people did? But anyway, but again, like, even that, there's a difference that is obvious that she's ignoring, because the Targaryens did it as dynastic policy. Cersei and Jaime do it because they believe they're somehow two halves of the same person. It's almost mythic in the way she describes it, but unlike the myths in Winterfell and Across the Sea with Dany that have been just fascinating to me, this this weird mythic thing that she's describing is morally catastrophic. It's sort of a myth that she is sort of trying to construct for herself in order to justify her own action, her and Jamie's actions. Is morally catastrophic. And it also means the entire royal succession is built on a lie. But then we learn something that reframes Cersei's hatred of Robert. Because Ned asked her, what did Robert do to make you hate him so much? And we find out that on their wedding night, the first time they shared a bed, Robert whispered the name of his first love and his true love, Lyanna, who was, I believe, Ned's sister who died. But not Cersei's name, Lyanna's. And suddenly, the whole marriage makes total sense. Robert married Cersei for politics. He was convinced into it by his hand. And Cersei married Robert for power. There was never love between them, only resentment. And that resentment poisoned everything around them, including their children. And of course, I also enjoy the Harry Potter books, and there was another marriage there that was not built on love, and it created one of the worst dark wizards of all time. He who must not be named, Voldemort. Anyway, but then Cersei delivers what I think is probably one of the most important lines in the book. Again, it mentions the Game of Thrones. Every time the Game of Thrones is mentioned in a quote, I take notice of it. But she says, when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. There is no middle ground. Ooh. This line perfectly captures the worldview of King's Landing. Politics here is not about justice. It's about honor. It's about survival. And this is where the story starts to feel very different from Tolkien. Because there's a moment in The Lord of the Rings that is almost the exact opposite of what Ned Stark does here. Early in the story, Frodo offers the ring to Aragorn, I believe at the Council of Elrond. When Frodo finds out that the ring was taken in battle by Isildur, Aragorn's ancestor. Aragorn's the rightful king. If anyone, as Frodo sees, has a political claim to power, it's him. If anyone has a claim to the ring, it's the descendant of the man who took the ring from Sauron's finger. And yet Aragorn refuses it, saying, it's been entrusted to you for a little while. He says, So anyway, Aragorn refuses it. That moment tells us something fundamental about Tolkien's idea of kingship. That the rightful king is the one who refuses power when it's offered unjustly. Aragorn proves he deserves the throne precisely because he won't seize it. Now look at Ned's confrontation with Cersei. Ned's discovered the truth. The king's children aren't Robert's. Cersei and Jaime have committed treason. Ned could expose her immediately. As soon as Robert gets back from hunting, he could go straight to him. He could destroy the Lannisters in a single move. But Ned does something else. He warns her. Ned gives Cersei a warning. He gives her time to escape with her children. Now why? Because Ned is trying to act according to honor rather than political advantage. He doesn't want innocent children to die. In Tolkien's world, that kind of moral restraint is ultimately vindicated. Good characters who refuse power are eventually rewarded. But in Martin's world, it seems to operate by a different kind of logic. Because in Westeros, or actually I think I heard from someone that it's this Westeros. I'm reading. I've only seen like 2 or 3 episodes years ago. So anyway, Westeros. We're in Martin's world, refusing to play the game may not prove your worth. And Ned is walking I think a much more dangerous line than Aragorn has to walk. And that makes this scene very terrifying. Ned thinks he's doing the honorable thing. But Cersei's worldview is completely different. To her, mercy isn't virtue. It's weakness. She told Ned the rules already. When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. And Ned Stark has just revealed that he's not really playing the game at all. So now we're left with a haunting contrast between two fantasy worlds. In Tolkien's Middle-earth, the king proves his worth by refusing power. In Martin's Westeros, the king, or anyone near the throne, survives only by seizing it first. And Ned Stark is standing right at the center of that collision. C.S. Lewis also wrote something that feels incredibly relevant here. In The Abolition of Man, Lewis warns about the danger of people who seek power for its own sake. Lewis wrote that the problem with tyrants is not simply that they're strong. It's that they believe they have the right to reshape the world according to their own will. And that's exactly what we see in King's Landing. The Lannisters aren't defending justice. They're defending their position. What makes this section so tense is that Ned still believes something very important. He believes Robert will listen. If Ned tells him the truth, Robert will do the honorable thing. But here's the terrifying possibility. What if Robert is no longer the man Ned remembers? That's what we were kind of wondering in the last section, my last video. What if Robert is no longer the man Ned remembers? Ned still sees some glimmers of his old friend. But what if Robert's no longer that man? Or what if that man is too weak now and the new Robert is too strong? Back in an earlier chapter, Robert said he felt more alive winning the throne than ruling it. Which means the throne may have already hollowed him out. There's also a quiet tragedy in Sansa's storyline here. She doesn't want to leave King's Landing. She believes court life will be like the songs. The songs promise noble princes and glorious kings. But Martin keeps showing us the opposite. And this contrast actually reminds me of something Tolkien and Lewis both believed. They believed myths and stories were not lies. They were aspirations. They showed us what humanity should be. But in Westeros, the songs seem to hide the truth rather than reveal it. And by the end of this section, Ned is in an incredibly dangerous position. He knows the truth about the royal children. He's confronted the queen herself. And the queen has basically told him the rules of the world he's in. Not justice, not honor, just the game. And Ned Stark is the one man in King's Landing who refuses to play it. So now the tension is just unbearable. As soon as I finish this video, I'm going to start reading more because the tension is unbearable right now. I gotta know. Because we know something Ned may not fully realize yet. Cersei understands the Game of Thrones. Ned Stark, I don't think does. Ned is too honorable. And the question I'm starting to ask is no longer just, can honor survive the throne? But the question now might be even darker. Can honor survive the game itself? So, anyway. I'll see y'all next time. I'm about to start reading chapter 46 as soon as this video ends. Because the tension is ramping up. I'll see y'all in the next video.